So for realtors who are already certified with Hero Benefits Network, I want to evoke a sense of imagination here at the onset of this conversation. And creative imagination is one of Napoleon Hill's steps to riches in Think and Grow Rich. And I'm just going to take a moment before we begin. And I want you to imagine that you have 20 vouchers that look like this in the hands of 20 heroes. And let's just put a date on it, because a goal is a promise that you make to yourself, right? But if you can imagine 20 vouchers, what does that feel like when 20 families have your relocation grant voucher in their hand? What does it feel like when someone calls you in November thinking about listing their home, thinking about buying a home, and then you put this beautiful relocation grant in their hands, and then their their holiday season uh, is charged with this energy that they have, that they're going to be moving. And as young people, you know, as younger realtors, sometimes you don't realize that someone that you meet in August might not buy a house until February, right? You just don't know that as a young realtor, right? But as a mature realtor or a seasoned veteran realtor, you realize that it's the stickiness of your sales funnel that will reap the greatest rewards. How much does the customer value you in the context of the 6-month window that it's going to take for them to sleepishly talk pillow talk at night? Honey, do you think we should move? And then all of a sudden that little seed comes into fruition over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 months sometimes. You know that. But imagine one more time that you have 20 of these vouchers in the hands of 20 families in your community. And let's put a date on it. I was going to put a date of March 1st. So, today's like November 14th or whatever. And a few months from now, the Fed has announced the interest rates are going to go down. The GOP has announced all the types of things they're going to be doing to stimulate the economy, which is first and foremost the housing market. And we believe, I believe certainly, that the work that you do in November, December, and January is going to pay exponential benefits when these families are walking around with your, relocation grant voucher in their hands, and you have, 20 of them out in the field by March 1st. Okay. Now, I think it would be reasonable to achieve 20 by January 1st. Honest to God, I do. I've done it before. Cops and firefighters and teachers are easy to find. They're easy to prospect. But I'm going to show you the journey this young lady took with us. This is an actual hero. And I just processed a lead from Google today that we didn't pay for. They came in through a search because they've been hearing about us in their own networks. And we got another lead today and processed another voucher. But imagine these vouchers, they just keep coming in, right? So this one was an empty nester. This is a family who had been in education for more than 30 years. And then they were thinking about downsizing. And when she went on to our site, I'm just going to give you a peek ahead here. She got a voucher. She did a voucher. And the voucher came out to her just like we're talking about. And now she was forever appreciative and clearly understood. You can read the small print. You can understand the spirit of the network pretty easily if you're a cop or a firefighter, right? And then we go back to this one and we say, what did she do then? So she went on, she filled out her downsizing $380,000 purchase. That's what came out to $43.55. But then not even a minute later, she went in and she re-registered. She did a relocation grant on the one she was selling for $720,000. So then her cumulative benefit from Hero was list the big house and get $5,374 from Heroes, and then buy the smaller house for $380 and get another $4,355 from the Hero Benefits Network. So, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've been a realtor for 40. So, I know how the police officers and the firefighters and the teachers and the military respond to this. They respond with absolute vigor and appreciation. Our slogan has really developed over the last 7 months to become the easiest job in real estate. All we do is give away money. I think the realtors make it a lot more difficult than it is. They think, I used to say think and then expletive, but I say they just think it to death, right? They don't think it anything. They just think it to death. All they are really doing is putting on a different hat. And I want you to really think about the hat that you're wearing. You would wear one hat you're wearing is a father, the other hat you're wearing is a husband, another hat you're wearing is a realtor. But we're considering putting on a different hat here, a red, white, and blue hat, not a MAGA hat, red, white, and blue, so that the down payment assistance and relocation grants, all you're talking about when you're wearing that hat is that you're a nonprofit Hero Benefits Director. You're not talking about Keller Williams. You're not talking about Coldwell Banker. You're not talking about Remax. Those are not relevant brands to the cop. The only relevant brand to the cop is Hero. So why bring up Remax, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Exit Realty, Weichert? You don't have to. All you have to bring up is, hey, we offer up to $5,000 down payment assistance when you're buying a house and up to $10,000 in relocation grants when you're selling a house. Have you ever thought about making a move? This is residential real estate 101 prospecting. They never have to repay the grant. They never have to, it doesn't affect their credit. There's no lien on the property for the grant. And it's to cure the affordable housing crisis. I believe in my heart that a buyer side stimulation would have been a bad move for this economy. I believe that another $25,000 buyer incentive would hurt the residential real estate industry in 2025. But what I believe would help our industry is relocation grants. If we could just find homeowners that were willing to sell houses, the problems would solve themselves. I promise you that. Because there's no problem in residential real estate that cannot be solved by good inventory. You might want to make a t-shirt on that. There's no problem in real estate that can't be solved by good inventory. You just need listings. So when you think about 60 or 70 teachers that are retiring in your county this year, or you think about 50 or 60 cops that are retiring each year from large stations and state highway patrols, and you think about how many doctors and nurses might be nearing retirement, what I found out by working the Hero Benefits Network for the last 3.5 decades is that the leadership in the organization knows who's retiring, and they also know who's a rookie, like who just came on, because that's what they manage in human resources, right? They manage who's been hired recently and who's dropping pretty soon. Well, those are indicators for us. Those are indicators for us of who's going to use the Hero Benefits Network. So I want to make a quick disclaimer when we shift into coaching that, our nonprofit philanthropy is called Hero Benefits Network. And we do believe it's the easiest job in real estate. All we do is give away money. But in the disclaimer, I want you to switch gears, put your real estate hat back on for just a few minutes, okay? Put the hat on that says, hey, man, I need to find some listings and I need to find some damn real estate commissions here before the end of the year. So this is not really a certification, okay? This is not our cert program. In fact, our certification program happens every Wednesday at noon. Devin, Carrie, Randy, and I come on and we certify real estate agents every Wednesday at noon. And then every Thursday, if you've never been through it, Devin does orientation. So orientation is between 30 and 50 minutes long, and gets into the portal and how you can use it. But today in KETA, we focus on actionable opportunities within our network for the real estate and mortgage professionals. So we just did a quick review of the relocation grants, essential employees, first responders, veterans. I'm going to go on a rant about the leadership opportunity in residential real estate and how I see it for just a moment, and what I believe is the opportunity that lies in front of you. Then I want to even open up dialogue or chat a little bit about the real estate agent calling and if it's the right thing for you, because it's not a have to. I mean, this isn't a have to. This is a get to. You know, I've been rewarded by millions and millions of dollars in real estate commissions because I get to represent a police officer. I get to serve a firefighter or a teacher. You know, I don't have to. And I don't do this very often, but I started in KETA coaching, giving out my cell phone number because I figure KETA is sort of the place where our rubber is going to meet the road. You know what I mean? Like if we don't start you on a journey of networking and relationship building, you're just going to quit. You know, you pledge $100 to own a zip code. You own the zip code, but you don't do anything in the zip code. It's like, you know, a lot of people's relationship to their gym. They pay the money, but they just don't go, right? So I'm going to invite you to text me at that telephone number that's on your screen in the small print. If you have any specific opportunities, let's say you spoke to a teacher, you spoke to a firefighter, you just didn't go right. You didn't feel right about it. Well, text me personally. If you have a meeting with a chief of police next week, give me some notice, but text me. Okay. I can either get on the phone with that chief. But if you have a specific opportunity, that's, you know, bona fide business, I'm here for you. And you can also, you know, help a mortgage guy or a title guy, a title person or a mortgage person get certified also at Hero Benefits Network. And I think you're going to see that it's a lot easier when you're collaborating with a mortgage banker and title agency to ask a police officer, let's find out how much you qualify for. You know, let's see how much of a grant you can qualify for. Let's go to herobenefitsnetwork.org and see how much of a relocation grant is even available to you. I mean, if you list the big house this month and you buy a small house next month, there's a fat grant in there for you. Let's find out how much you qualify for. You know, what's important for our real estate agents to see is that the word teamerage is pretty consistently used now among the ivory tower real estate franchise managers. You know, it's almost replacing the word brokerages in a lot of their minds. These teamerages or the expansion teams, you know, it's becoming an inevitable force. But even real estate agents can run, an individual agent can run a Hero Benefits division, but your Hero Benefits division must have a mortgage and title company in it. Like the stool is the stool. It doesn't stand up without one another. And I think you'll start to find that, you know, when you work together, loving the same audience. So let's just take a teeny audience of the American Legion. Let's say there's 1,600 members of the American Legion, and you just decide that, hey, the three of us, we're going to just love all over the American Legion. We're going to, you know, we know when their events are. We know when they show up. We know who's the regulars. We know who the captain is. You know, we know who the people are that run it. And we're just going to spend the next, you know, 6 to 12 months loving on the American Legion and finding out, you know, what could come out of it. So you're using Hero to elevate your personal brand. So yes, you were a RE/MAX agent, but now you're a Hero Benefits agent. So you're still a RE/MAX agent when you don't have the hat on, but you put the hat on for Hero and it elevates your brand. It upgrades what they're thinking of you. And I want to show you what's working. If you're not at least talking to your mortgage banker and title agent at least once a week, I mean, like, hey, what are we doing this week? You want to do something? You want to go to an open house? You want to go to that police event? Do you want to go to that, veteran event? Do things together, plan and schedule together, and give each other assignments. This is called Mastermind Alliance. This is a chapter in Think and Grow Rich as well. Creative imagination, yes. Desire, yes. And mastermind. You know, I try to help realtors every day. If you don't have any desire, the batteries are just not included. You just don't have any batteries going. There's nowhere, you're not doing anything, right? And then if you don't have a mastermind alliance, there's no one to hold you credible and build relationships with. And I think you could be building a relationship with the Hero Mortgage and the Hero Title people and having weekly meetings with them and an assignment, whether you're a teamerage or an individual agent. And then if I was the teamerage or I was the brokerage, which I was for 20 years, and I was a team before that, and I was a title company, and I was a mortgage banker. So I've been in every slot in this, but I would have pizza parties once a month to bring best practices and bring the agents together. But if I'm an individual agent, I would obviously just bring the teamerages. What about an essential employees appreciation night? Brian Buffini and I did customer appreciation nights in the 80s, right? Where we would just say, hey, bring in a case of $2, what do we call it? $2 Chuck back then. We used to bring in a few bottles of $2 Chuck and let's have a little employee appreciation night. Well, you can be doing that with your heroes, whether it's a monthly pizza party or a Sunday barbecue or whatever, but start to create competition between you, your mortgage company, and your title company, because that'll create a sense of collaboration and even real competition. You're like, what did you do this week for Heroes? What did I do this week for Heroes? What are we doing this week for Heroes? And create a sense of belonging and interaction and a central purpose. And I think what you'll find, I found, it's a hell of a lot more fun to run when you have like a cultural central purpose. If your central purpose is to put on that hero benefits hat every week and represent the brand, then how many people did you tell it to and by when? That's sort of the roadmap of success, right? It starts with Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, right? Deep, white hot, burning desire. Anything absent of that, you're never going to get rich, right? If you don't have deep, white hot, burning desire to get rich, you're never going to get rich. And then you have to use your creative imagination and evolve an idea that you can implement to create the wealth, and then mastermind with other people that can help you create the wealth. So this collaboration with mortgage bankers and title is not, it's not a force. It's a you get to do that. You get to build a mastermind alliance with 3 like-minded hero lovers, right? Larry's done a great job. I just heard from Surety Title. I think you talked to them yesterday, Devin. We had Larry operating autonomously in New Jersey, while Surety Title was the title company in New Jersey. They never even met each other. It's absolutely ridiculous. So we finally made the introduction, and now they're collaborating. So thanks to Larry. And remember I said earlier, the calling, and I know I've done this in search before, but the calling is inherent and integral to a realtor's ability to represent a true nonprofit. If you don't have conviction and you don't have a sense of purpose about it, you're never going to make it. You've got to, and that's one of the steps of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is the word faith, right? You've got to have a white hot burning desire, use your creative imagination to come up with a concept, and then you got to have faith that the concept's going to work, right? So, faith also feeds this sense of purpose for me, that I have faith that if I go out and talk to the chief, if I go out and talk to the firemen, if I go out and talk to the teachers union, that I'm going to become the brand ambassador for Hero Benefits Network as that when I'm wearing that hat. And some of us don't have any experience with campaigning, right? You've watched Joe Biden, you've watched Kamala Harris, you've watched Donald Trump, you've watched governors campaign, but you've never campaigned yourself potentially. And that's what you have to start to think about is how would you campaign if you were trying to get elected by these Hero Benefits Network or Hero, what I would call human resources directors. Those are the people. Obviously, that's the team. And think of these 4 as your employees. I really believe that if you are a Hero Benefits brand ambassador, that you get the services of Randy and Carrie and Russ and Devin. So reach out to us. I gave you my cell phone number. I'll give it to you one more time before we leave. But this little Russ's rant here may fall on deaf ears, but it certainly is 40 years of experience telling me that reputational consistency is the juggernaut of the residential real estate business. Real estate agents develop necessary credibility over time. To be fair, we weren't raised, most of us, with a sense of delayed gratification, right? A sense of appreciation for delaying our gratification. We are in a microwave instant, pop-up age. And as a consequence of that, a lot of things are fairly disposable. So like a lead source. I didn't put much time into it. I just paid for the leads. So then when they slow down, I can just dispose of it. It's a variable expense. I don't have to invest forever. It's just a variable. So it's a disposable commitment. Say that out loud. That sounds like an oxymoron. It's a disposable commitment. You made a commitment, but it just goes away after a while. But when real estate agents develop the necessary credibility over time, think about a farm area, right? Like there's 1,100 homes. They average 800 grand a piece. And if you farm them, how long does it take to create a true real estate farm area? Top agents say 2 years. Vince Arcuri, a friend of mine from a long time ago back in Tampa, was teaching a farming course. And then Carrie, my wife, taught 6-week farming coaching through Works Partner for years. And she still does. The farming program is a 6-week program just to learn how to do it. And then it takes about 6 months to start seeing transactional volume. But over a 2-year window, most top realtors will say that's about when the floodgates break open and they capture 25 or 30 or 40% of that market. How long does it take before Aunt Betsy trusts that you're a real realtor? How would you have to show up on social media? Just sold, just listed. Here we go again. Another family served. We did another one. We sold another one. We sold 15 homes. How do you have to show up before your own aunt trusts that you're a real estate agent, right? How many contacts do you have to make to convert an average for sale by owner? Does anybody understand how reputational consistency develops over time, and that the first moment that you walk up to a for sale by owner, there is a tremendous amount of objection and rejection and declines and objection handling? But then when you're consistent with the for sale by owner, like our eBowl system is, we have a system called Every Buy Owner Lists. That system is inside of the Works Partner platform. eBowl for sale by owner is I think 15 contacts over a 3.5 week period that converts 10% of the for sale by owners during the 3.5 weeks. And it's done that for 40 years. So every 10 for sale by owners we add into the eBowl program develops one listing over 12 touches in 3.5 weeks, once for every 10 we do. That means that 9 say no, but 1 out of every 10 says yes. So how many contacts to convert a for sale by owner? I've done it in one. I've wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I just walk in, call the phone, pick up the listing, and walked out. Yes, I've done that a million times, but that's not the norm. The norm is about 12 touches over 3.5 weeks will turn into a listing. Now, when it comes to Hero, and this was the rant, what would you have to do personally to earn the respect, admiration, appreciation, and trust from your area's essential employees? To have a police officer be thinking highly of you in the residential real estate space because you've provided reputational consistency over time. Would it be the first week that you met him that he would all of a sudden trust, respect, and admire you? No, this is absolutely a commitment that the universe conspires to assist you, but it's as soon as you put on that hat, put on that red, white, and blue Hero Benefits hat when you go speak with them, and the respect, admiration, appreciation, and trust from the firefighters will grow. The trust from the police officers and the teachers will grow. This is a source of business chart, okay? And I have always worked on source of business charts. If you want a free copy of my source of business chart, I'll share you 25 years worth of source of business charts. I have them dating back to when they were in pencil. Okay. So yes, I have source of business charts for almost every year I was in business as a residential real estate agent. And where the source of business gets really interesting is when you break it down in the legend. Okay. So in red ink, over the course of a year, because I visited with the newsletter program that I operate, every month I did a newsletter. And that newsletter was due on the fourth Wednesday of every month so that it would be ready for the next month, and it would go out. Well, because of that, I did a couple deals with firefighters, right? And then on the next one over with the green, those are my military and veterans. So by hitting the VA and the VFW and the American Legion and dropping by or participating in their evening events or participating in, it's going to sound silly, but what about bingo? Just go and meet them and hand out vouchers. Jesus, just 20 vouchers to go play bingo for an hour. Don't be a wimp. Don't be a wimp. You're a politician. Sometimes you got to sling the French fries at McDonald's, right? So sometimes you got to go in and get gritty and get in those places and meet those people. And then all of a sudden one person says, your reputational consistency over time. Now I trust you. Now I like you. Now I appreciate. Now I respect you. And you know what? My sister's getting ready to sell her house, and that's when all this gold shit hits your source of business that you weren't expecting. I'm going to say that one more time. The military and the teachers and the veterans and the law enforcement fellas, those professional ladies that are in those professions are going to do business with you abso-freaking-lutely guaranteed, probably add 3 to 5 million a year to your production without blinking an eye. But watch this. Oh my God, you didn't even know that was going to come. And I'm going to tell you how trust and respect and appreciation builds when your credibility builds over time. When you utilize consistency over time and you're at bingo once a month instead of once. And I know it sounds stupid, this bingo thing I just went off on, but let's take it to the next level. Let's say there's a PTA meeting that all the teachers come to and all the parents come to, and it happens once a month at this little elementary school. But you decide that you're going to bring cupcakes there once a month, or you're going to just show up with vouchers. It's this reputational consistency over time that I'm the Hero Benefits Network nonprofit. We offer down payment assistance and relocation grants to our nation's essential employees. And I wanted to be here at the PTA meeting so that I could spread the word about Hero Benefits Network and what we're doing for teachers. You know what? All of a sudden, you're going to have a 5-minute standing speech that you have to give every month there. I'm talking from experience. This is how it works. They put free ads in their newsletter for you. They do this stuff. So then when that conversation is happening with that one retiree that's dabbling at the American Legion, he says, oh, my daughter's thinking about buying a house. And all bing, 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 bing. All of a sudden, there's all this extra freaking business floating around because of your reputational consistency and credibility built over time. That is the only way you're going to build the type of appreciation, loyalty, and respect that you need in these very loyal pebble in the pond environments. And I'm going to stress this. I've never been around people with better credit than the military, veterans, firefighters, teachers, and law enforcement law enforcement. They typically, on average, hold their credit scores higher than per capita. And then the next thing they do is they refer more than your average person. So because teachers hang out with teachers, they're constantly talking about their lives, right? And teachers are in the lounge, firefighters in the station, veterans at the American Legion or Veterans of Foreign War. And nobody could doubt where the cliche of the donut shop came from, right? The 4 cops sitting in the donut shop. Well, they're talking, and what they're talking about is you. I promise you, I've experienced this at large and at scale. The cops and the firefighters are receiving dollars to buy a home, and all they're going to do is tell their friends about it. All right, we're going to end on something here, and it's truly an assignment. I don't believe it would ever go over if we kept it all together, but Devin will cut it up and put it out to the network in short form. The factor is available for all of you to calculate your own relocation grants. You use 0.0115 on the one they're buying. You use 0.0075 on the one they're selling. You add them together to make a total relocation grant. And let's imagine that there was 20 relocation grants floating around your community by January 1st of 2025. Imagine the interest rates tick down a point and you got 20 vouchers floating. You're selling 4 or 5 houses next month. I promise you. I've done it. Had 5 closings in one afternoon and went golfing. I'm telling you, I've done it my whole life. Sold 160 homes a year as a RE/MAX agent. Sold 3,500 homes as a broker owner. I've been doing this for a long time, and I know how this works. This is a call to action for all of our realtor members. This is truth in advertising at its highest and best use. We talked at length about what the Hero Benefits Director position can mean for you, how you can add $4, $5, $6 million a year to production. But now I want to talk about you actually doing the 4-letter word work. This ugly ass word that nobody likes to hear. Take off the realtor hat and put on benefits director hat. And when you do that, you start to say, okay, is 6 hours a week really hustle? I wouldn't call it that, but to patronize our audience, I'll say, yeah, it's a real hustle, buddy. 6 hours. So 6 hours each week to work within the Hero Direct time blocks. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a peek at what a balanced marketing schedule could look like if you were a realtor hustling, just busting your ass at 6 hours a week, just crushing it, man. Real go-getter, 6 hours a week. Okay, here we go. 1 hour FedEx. Okay, it doesn't take 1 hour to send FedEx, but we're giving you an hour. And the reason we're giving you an hour is just in case you don't want to spend the $15 or the $11 per FedEx. You can courier them yourself. So we're giving you a whole hour to courier them over. What we're looking to do here is to do 4 a week. Well, if you do 4 a week and you take 12 weeks off a year, you've done it 40 weeks. Right? 4 a week, 40 weeks. It's a ton of them. So 4 times 4 is how we do that. 16 times a month if you took 1 week off every month, because there's 4.333 weeks in a month, in a year. I'm sorry, in a month, you end up with 12 extra weeks in a year. So you're only doing it 4 times per month. 2 hours, you're going to actually do DMs. Now that's not cold calling. It's just DMing, right? Sending emails and DMing. And we allocated 2 hours for this because of the hunting and pecking. You've got to find the heroes. And this is how you're building your essential employee farm area. By setting aside 2 hours a week, remember we're hustling here, man. We got 1 hour putting out FedEx and then 2 hours a week building a farm area. If you did those 3 hours by yourself, and that's all you protected in your hustle, I'll bet you'd be calling me within a month and your words would sound something like this. Holy shit, I got 6 teachers. And I'd be like, I told you. You'd be like, no, really, I got 6. And I'm like, I know. That's how it works. I've done this my whole life. So just those 2 alone would be a fantastic enterprise to run a residential real estate division. But now you're understanding that this is a free farm area. Like, it doesn't cost you $1,200 a month to work your farm. It's not a $15,000 a year risk tolerance, which is what you have to spend to build a residential subdivision farm area. But how many contacts could you touch in 2 hours if all you were doing is DMing and emailing? DM, email, DM, email. Could you do 10? That's a hustle, man. You're a rock star. I'd say 25 DMs and 25 emails times 40 weeks. That's 2,000 touches. I'm telling you what, you're never going to go poor doing that. You're always going to be productive. You're going to have listings and you're going to have buyers. 1 hour, if I had an extra hour to hustle, I'd go ahead and add an hour for data entry. Most of us never do this vital data entry work. And in the era of AI and, you know, what's happening in social media, your database is becoming the infinitely most valuable thing that you own. If you can get a good database of contacts that know you, trust you, like you, and respect you, and you can hold that when you move from Remax to Keller and back from Keller to Remax and back from Remax to Exit, you move from Coldwell Banker to ERA, and you're working with Annie Mac for a few months, then you're working with Cross Country for a few months, then you're working with Moving Mortgage for a few months. I mean, God almighty, if you had some transactional consistency and some reputational consistency, you could build credibility over time and quit changing the direction every few months. But at least if you held your data to yourself and you hold on to it, you could build that database aggressively. 2, 3, 4. Here's hour number 5 in a 6-week schedule. And this is personal. Walk to the fire station. Walk up the driveway of the fire station. Your first time you do it, you probably get a lump in your throat, you get a little nervous, you get a little tongue-tied, you get a little anxious. The third or fourth time you do it, they're going to go, hey! And you're like, hey, I brought your vouchers. Hey, quit bringing the vouchers, we know. Oh, yeah, Ben's doing this. And, it just becomes a little different over time, right? Reputational consistency. The VFW, the American Legion, schools, particular high schools. I went to a high school football game a couple Fridays ago, and then I had talked to the coach of the team, and I said, "You know about this?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "Oh, you should get the word out to even your assistant coaches, ambulance drivers, ER principals." So I'm not going to go through this again, but this is a true formula. Okay, this is a 6-hour formula that could build your reputational consistency over time. And I am willing to work with you and your title partner and your real estate partner to formalize your mastermind alliance in a way. And I'm going ahead and giving you my bdmx.com email right there. That's business development managers. bdmx.com is my email address. You can reach out to me directly. And I'll also go back to the slide that has my cell phone on it real quick before we wrap up and just make sure that everybody has it. This is probably not going to make the edit. Wow, what a pain in my neck. I didn't realize there was 40 slides.
Russ, I did put your cell phone number in the Microsoft Teams chat, so you're okay.
Can you just edit that little Charlie Brown moment out for me, would you? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't bother you too much. Devin, are you picking up what we're laying down? And I know it might be even coming off a little sarcastic, but the way I feel about this is we're either going to have people that are willing to work, or we're going to have people who are expecting and entitled that they're supposed to get something, right? And we want to eliminate that real quick. We want them to understand that this is an opportunity and they get to give out vouchers, but they don't just sit back and put their, it's an opportunity. It's not a, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You follow me though? And can we kind of start to focus on that messaging, especially with our realtor partners?
No, absolutely. And I think at this time, does anybody have any questions or concerns? Do you guys see, the value in this program? Feel free to unmute yourselves or, type a message in the chat. Your feedback is very valuable to Hero Benefits Network.
And if I'm frustrated at all, it's purely because I know the result of the work. I've watched it now in New Jersey. I've watched it now in the New England states. I've watched it now in the Mid-Atlantic states. I've watched it in Florida. I mean, there's no way that if you just deliver vouchers that you're not going to be successful. there's too much barb on that hook. The cops appreciate it too much. So, if I'm eager to see you delivering vouchers, it's because I've watched the exponential business return from those vouchers. So one last time, just imagine you had 20 vouchers by January 1st out in the field, and what that would feel like if interest rates tick down a half a point.
Thank you, Russ. Guys, any questions before we hop off today? Nope. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. We do host these weekly every Wednesday at 10 a.m. for our Realtor partners. And we also host certifications where you can become certified to serve our nation's heroes on their path to home ownership. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.